We want to actually know what is it you are going to do.
It's quite simple. By unburdening what has been. We have to do what we can at this point because of all the burdens that have yet to be burdened by what we've seen and what we haven't seen yet. And me and Joe are up for the job of the unburdening.
Cut. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. So a lot has happened over the past week. Trump had a assassination attempt. Joe Biden is dropped out. Kamala Harris is possibly going to be running for president. I feel like a lot has gone on there. But for the Democrats, like, does it even matter that he even dropped out, y'all? To me, it's just their party is like imploding at this point.
I think that it does in a way, because I was watching Sky News Australia, and he made a good point. The guy that was talking about it, he made a good point that don't let the Republicans get too cocky.
Yeah. Thinking
that they have this in the bag, which is what I said in our last video. What I said is that it is possible for even a Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to win, because what could happen is that people just think that Trump is going to win, and not even vote. You know what I mean? And the truth is that this may reignite the people who were going to vote for Trump because they didn't want to vote for Joe Biden and his mental issues. That now they feel like Kamala Harris could win. Well, and they could just jump ship and jump over to her thinking that. And I've already seen people.
Well, now because I was telling Kara the other day, yesterday, that they're about to go full optics on this Kamala Harris situation. People are starting to get more like, oh, because what it is on the left, the thing about the left is that they are full DEI mode all the time. So when you have a possibility of a woman being president and then a black woman being president, that no one even cares anymore about the issues, the policies, anything that has anything to do with changing or improving the country gets put by the wayside with a lot of Democratic voters specifically and the establishment, because once they have that kind of like, we have a black woman, for some reason with black people, a lot of black people, it just changes their mind on everything. They just fall for it every time. And so when I see Kamala Harris, it's laughable to me that this woman could ever be president, but under the circumstances, if you think about the mentality of the people on the left, it's not impossible that she would.
And it is laughable, no pun intended, because we will have cackling Kamala for 4 years. Can you imagine that? That laugh for 4 years would drive me nuts. Yeah. But Bill Maher, who's a huge lefty, he actually made fun of her on a stand-up, or not? No, actually on his show, he did a. You know how he does those little segments where he talks about. He was just talking about the fact that she would be the first woman president. She would be the first black woman, and she'd be the first Asian.
Yeah.
Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. And like an electric car, your MAGA uncle can't explain why she fills him with homicidal rage. She just does. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
And he was just like, and with all of that, she's not popular.
Right.
For him to say that openly makes me wonder if the party even wants her, because Barack Obama and Michelle Obama didn't endorse her.
And then Biden didn't, and then he did immediately after.
Right.
Like, he didn't endorse her either officially, but then he did immediately follow up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to endorse her."
Bill and Hillary Clinton did.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what this means. I know that the Democrats have found a way not to have a primary. They're just going to use their delegates to get, to install somebody in as president.
That's not very democratic.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Democrats.
Yeah.
But
we call the Democrats democrats.
But the demon is in the name. And again, that is not democracy.
Yeah.
Their name is the main democracy is in the name.
Yeah.
And yet they aren't going to primary. They have super delegates. They're going to overthrow the will of their voters like they've been doing forever. You know what I mean? And so I don't know who they're going to get in.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're voting Trump.
Yeah.
But I don't vote for women. So
yeah.
Even on the Republicans, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Because I thought about her in a debating forum, and we had already seen the Tulsi Gabbard debacle that happened with her, and Tulsi just annihilated her. Actually, I have that clip.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
I think it's just very ironic that a lot of black people are always, the black people are being jailed disproportionately than this and that and the other. They're always talking about how it's all, and then you have the Kamala Harris in California who just basically didn't care about any of that. But now she's just the queen. Yeah, now she's a queen.
Kamala Harris is the queen of making comments without making sense.
Yeah, at all.
She just rambles on. She never makes a point. She just talks. She just keeps doing that. But that was the Tulsi takedown. I mean, right after that, she talked to she talked to Anderson Cooper, and then it was done. And the Democratic Party, I think they wanted her to be president. Yeah. They all rallied around Joe Biden because they wanted Bernie Sanders out. That was it. They wanted Bernie Sanders out, and he was winning, and he had all those large crowds. And so Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg, they all dropped out so they could all rally behind Joe Biden, and that was point. Tulsi didn't have a lot of delegates either, which is why she dropped out.
Yeah.
But that took Kamala Harris out, and I think that also showed the Democratic Party she was not a strong enough candidate to actually win an election.
But because the base of the Democratic Party is largely black, as we know, and I think in the upper, I think 90%, and then with black women, the voting stats are 98, the higher 90s. Of black women voting the Democratic Party. So Biden then had to, that's why he made her vice president. That's why he made her vice president, because she's a black woman. Like I said, the left the Democratic Party establishment, they are full optics with everything. Like, it has to look a certain way. So having a black woman up there is the whole reason why we're even seeing a Kamala Harris. The idea that this woman could be a president is,
I mean, the only way she can be is to be installed.
Yeah.
And as far as the Democratic Party, because let's keep it real, the Republicans really don't need black people to win.
They don't.
The Democrats do need black people to win.
Minorities.
They need minorities.
They minorities, period.
Right.
Republicans can do without it altogether.
Yeah, and you know, Sunny Houston on The View, she said the other day that the black women will not forgive the Democratic Party if they bypass Kamala Harris. And she knows that. It's true.
Yeah,
though.
it's true.
Black women will be really upset if they put in a Pete Buttigieg or a Gavin Newsom because these two white men are going to take over this what they consider a black opportunity.
Policies don't. Yeah, remember, policies don't matter
in the Democratic Party.
They don't matter with the Democratic Party. Most of the Democratic voters don't even care about that, are not even really researching it at all. Anyways, it's just the way that it looks. They want to see it.
Yeah.
They want to see that black woman be in office. And my position on that is, although I am a black woman, I don't base things off of my skin color when it comes to important things like voting. Okay, I go with who is going to uphold the Constitution. That's to the front of my mind. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about that. But listen, black women, I've seen it now in my, like, if I go on Instagram, people I personally know, I'm already seeing it. Like, this has only been a day. I'm already seeing the you go, girl, let's do this, let's go, they have Kamala, President Kamala, they're already getting started. Don't have to even look at her policies, how she, being Attorney General in California, how she was there and how no one liked her. Black people did not like her out there. Don't look at any of that stuff. It's only because she's a black woman. They just want to see it. It's the same thing that happened with Barack Obama, is that it's just the idea of having, I guess, something different in there. And I just don't look at it that way. I'm literally looking at who is going to uphold things. I'm not looking at someone looks like me.
I mean, Dale and I, when we lived in New York, we lived in Spanish Harlem. And if you walk down 118th Street, that's like a main, no, not 118th Street. What is it, 116? The one that goes to the train.
Yeah, it's 116.
Okay, so if you walk down that street, they have that's where they have a lot of what do you call them? Street fairs.
Street fairs.
They have a lot of street fairs, and on that main road, they have all these pillars of Barack Obama up. And I used to walk down that, go to the train, and I would think, why do they have all these pillars of Barack Obama?
Yeah.
It's because to people of color means everything. Yeah. They don't really care what he does in office. It's just the idea of a man being president. And these are Spanish people. These are not like African Americans. You know what I mean? These are Spanish people who just, if anybody's of color, they'll accept it. Yeah. That's true. And they don't really care what the person does, as long as they're a Democrat and they're a person of color. And I don't, I think that's, it's crazy, but but the Democrats have really pushed themselves in a corner here, because when you lead with that and you get everybody all excited about what someone looks like, now even if they suck like her, you have to now take her. Yeah. Because Gavin Newsom, I think they would rather have, honestly.
Now, they said that at the Democratic National, I think it's on the 19th, the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, they're basically is going to be kind of like essentially an audition to be president. Yeah. Who's going to be the candidate? I mean, like, that's they're feeling like to be that. They're going to see who's.
I mean, delegates are going to pick. So
they're going to pick, right? Vote. But they're treated like it's an audition, because they don't know now. It's completely messed up now. You know what though? They shouldn't have, from the very beginning though, with the Biden thing. He should have never been president. No.